and welcome back to Footy Corner. I'm Sparks, and nice to see you again. If you're coming into the channel, please make sure you're hitting the like and the subscribe to the channel. Any comments in the comment section? If you're watching the replay, in the comment section below as well, so we can get back to them when we see them. We've got Dom in the channel again. Welcome in, Dom. How are we?
Yeah, very well. Thank you very well, mate. Nice to see you again. And obviously, anyone watching this either live or on catch up, don't forget to give Sparks a like. That also helps him out as well. But yes, I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Yeah, I'm all right. Just to add to that, Dom's link is in the description. I actually managed to put it in there, so yeah, we're educating ourselves as we go along. So it's a long process. I'm a bit long in the tooth, so it takes a while.
I'm laughing because we were talking about how to do something which I'm sure pretty much everyone knows how to do, but you worked out earlier and have just taught me. So
Yeah, I mean, I was literally looking at it when you said you could do a certain thing, but like basically mute a tab before there's sound on it. You said you could do it, and I was like, well, I can't do it. I've got no idea. And yeah, I figured it out. So very old school, very crap at certain things, but we move. So there
and
we go.
we can talk football. At least we can do that.
We can talk football. We can talk crap about a lot of things. So yeah, absolutely. So
I
why
didn't
not?
realise we'd been hired by Sky.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, they're doing every other bit of fan content and whatever now, aren't they? So why not us as
Why
well?
not us? Yeah. Oh dear me.
And we got protagonist in the building. Welcome in, sir. How are we? Hope you're good. Yeah, if you're in the YouTube chat, please make sure you drop in likes and shares and comments. So yeah, appreciate you. Where to start? I mean, I don't think anything happened this week.
No, not at all.
No, I don't think anything happened at all. It's quite a boring, dull weekend of football, wasn't it? Really.
Yeah. It's second week in a row we've not had Alt to talk about, is there?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. There's a couple of surprises in store this week. We actually managed to beat West Ham for the first time in 3 years at home. So yeah.
Yeah, lost the last 3 in all competitions at home. 2 in the league and 1 in the cup.
Yeah, absolutely. So it was nice to see. What did you make of the lineup when it actually came out? What do you think?
Yeah, it's you know, I mean, if you start front to back, then I didn't see any surprise in the change as in at fullback. I thought that was quite sensible, quite smart, and I think we see that a lot this year. Gabriel was the one that half surprised me. Obviously, his aerial ability against West Ham from set pieces was going to be a major threat, given West Ham's propensity for conceding from set pieces. But I thought, well, it was everyone was saying Arsenal he wasn't badly injured by the sort of collision in midweek. I thought he needed a rest, so I was surprised to see him. I wasn't surprised, but I mean, of course, the big one was midfield, wasn't it? With Rice in a single pivot and Eze and Odegaard. And I was talking to someone about this in the build up to the game. They were saying, "What about that lineup?" And I think I had that as my midfield to give Zubimendi a rest. And I said, that's not necessarily our best lineup. I don't think we have such a thing as a best lineup. It's a horses for courses, and I think we will see that, particularly at home against sides that are struggling, a fair bit. I think this season, whether that's Wanyeri, whether that's Odegaard, whether that's Eze, possibly even Havertz sort of pushed in closer to Gyökeres as sort of almost at the front too. I wouldn't be shocked
to replace Gyökeres as well.
Yeah, who will need a rest when Havertz is back fit, undoubtedly. Because he's put a lot of minutes into the legs already at a much higher intensity than he has previously. But yeah, I mean, I wasn't shocked to see that lineup. I think it was good to see that lineup. I thought we missed Zubimendi's passing from deep, and that obviously changed when he came on. And I think he's done a lot to sort of help Odegaard refine his form, and it's a shame what happened to him. But yeah, I like the lineup, but I don't think we should necessarily see that in every game. I like the approach we kind of had the season overall of dropping and changing a lineup for fitness and rotation reasons, but also based on the opposition. And I think long may that continue.
Yeah, the downside for me is still the left wing. I guess if you uber critical, I think Both Trossard and Martinelli are essentially sub players for me. So I think that if anything was going to happen in January, probably won't. But a Semenyo or something like that.
I think if anything happens in January, and I think you're right, that's sort of the area of most upgrade, right? It's going to have to be a loan. I mean, Tim Lewis, it's been reported in a week. Obviously, he stepped down from the board a couple of weeks ago. Essentially, didn't like the new position he was being offered and decided to go. And it was being briefed out, I think, somewhat churlishly, in the week. But he was very anti the Eza deal on financial grounds. Now, I think that is his job, is to question the financial decisions to make sure Arsenal are doing it right, rather than to comment on the player themselves. That is his view. But he said that was going to take us very, very close, not to the English FFP rules, but the UEFA equivalent PSR. So I think, therefore, in January, unless there isn't an exit, I can't see an arrival coming. And I think Arsenal will probably stay away from the January transfer window market unless they need to do something because of an injury crisis or a major opportunity arises. So I think it's unlikely unless it's a loan deal.
Yeah.
But I agree with you, by the way, on Trossard and Martinelli. That's the area. Martinelli, well as he's done this year, he had a terrible start, and then well as he's done in recent games, it's been a yin and yang. I agree with your point now on those two.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that was the whole problem in the summer. I think we all kind of guessed that might be the case, that that we couldn't get a left winger in without moving somebody actually out permanently. So yeah, I'm not crying about it, but I'm equally, I'd rather it have happened in the summer if I'm being uber critical.
I mean, I agree. I mean, I'm not sure what more Arsenal could have done in the summer.
Yeah, we're not in the accounts. We're not privy to the accounts at the end of the day. Yeah, anyway, so we're rocking a hard place. We're only as fans. I just like seeing the Trossard and Martinelli. Although Martinelli's been good, well, they've both been good from the bench. But yeah, I do see that that was the reason he got the increase. I think if he hadn't, if we'd been freer, I think we'd have moved him on.
Yeah, my ideal summer window would have been fairly similar to what we did, but you would have added in a Trossard on age grounds rather than ability-wise move on, and another left winger come in. Martinelli always felt the more viable one for a massive left wing upgrade if you're going to go. Let's say Rodrigo was available. I think it always had to be Martinelli financially, but one of those two out and a top winger coming in would have been the absolute icing on the cake. But as my point around the summer window, I think we had a very good summer window. But I agree with you. That is the area where you're looking to upgrade the most.
Yeah,
this summer.
I just said we were being uber critical.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that I wasn't happy with everything. I think the way everything's turned out and the way we're getting injuries and we've got somebody to step in and we've got rotation. You get a Rice injury and you think that's it, we're screwed, and you've got Mendy coming on. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Come on. Who can do that, really? Who in the league can actually do that now? That I don't think there's actually anybody that can do that kind of move. And you got Norgard behind him as well. So
yeah. And Moreno as well, of course.
And Moreno as well. He can play there, but he hasn't been playing there. He's been playing an advanced position.
Yeah, I mean, you're exactly right, by the way, that you're you're absolutely right on being uber critical. That's the area. But secondly, I spoke about this in summer. I felt it was a two-horse transfer. Not transfer, title race, and it would be interesting to see if Arsenal sort of two players in every position versus Liverpool's significant power up front. How was that going to sort of, that was their transfer windows in a nutshell, and whose was it going to be? But there is no one in this league right now that, if you compared the second 11s, I don't like a first and second 11, but of every team in this league, there isn't a stronger one than Arsenal. There just isn't.
Yeah, I think that's factual. I don't think there's anybody complaining about that. That there might be a better quality starting lineup and first replacements, but squad wise, I don't think there's anybody right now that can do what we can do. So,
No, no, I agree.
yeah. Um, Protagonist says I cracked my tooth this week. If that's any better, I'm not sure if it's any better than what, but it's not good. I hope you get well soon and you get it sorted. Um, yeah,
It
never
sounds
good.
painful, that.
Yeah, I don't like opticians and I don't like dentists. I had to deal with both quite a lot, but yeah, I'm not the fan of either, to be honest. So
I'm not
yeah,
sure who is, to be fair, but
yeah. I mean, it's pretty standard behaviour, isn't it? Really. So what did you actually make of the game? Did you think that we approached it the right way, or what were your thoughts?
I mean, tale of the week, I think, really, from an Arsenal perspective, which was win the game nice and comfortable, didn't really get out of first gear at all, kind of sums it up, I think, quite nicely from my point of view. Arsenal in total control. I think had West Ham really threatened and, they didn't really overly threaten in the game, you just felt Arsenal had a level to go to. I'd like to see us, killing off these games. Earlier on, rather than waiting until the end for the Saka penalty to do so. But Arsenal in cruise control, dominated the game. Probably for the second time in a week, could have won it by 3 or 4, didn't. But ultimately got a nice, comfortable win. 3 points on the board. The downside obviously being the Odegaard injury. But Arsenal, yeah, I thought they showed attacking intent and just gave West Ham nothing. West Ham barely touched the ball in our half, let's be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I was quite disappointed in West Ham as well, to be honest, because like, you kind of expected them at some point to go, well, we're going to go for it, but they just never did, did they? They just kind of sat on their laurels and tried to keep it respectable, and that was it, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if Nuno had been in charge for 3 or 4 weeks. I think they're doing better than they were, for one. But for a second, I wonder whether he might well have gone for it a little bit. I don't know. We'll never know. But yeah, West Ham were very, very poor. You can sort of see why people are talking about them going down. I don't think they will, because I think Nuno will keep them up. But yeah, they were very poor. And it does make it very difficult from an Arsenal perspective or any team perspective when that team just sits in there like that and shows zero ambition whatsoever. But as I say, Arsenal, I think if they wanted to try and knock 3, 4, 5, they could have done. I think they just wanted to get
Yeah.
through the game, conserve energy. And we did it against Port Vale, we did it against Olympiacos, we've done it here. And I think there's some sense in that because, we do have a few injuries at the moment. You don't want to add to it. Obviously, Odegaard was added to it again on Saturday, and you want to sort of conserve a little bit of that energy, particularly as Arsenal don't have control about the way the international players will be training and playing in the next week or so. Try and get them there in the fittest possible condition. Um, you know,
Yeah, I completely agree with that. It literally could have been. It could have been any score, really, couldn't it? Because, like I said, that they just didn't come out at all, and it seemed like to me that they didn't really get out of second gear at all, and that there were plenty of gears to go. Let alone, one gear. There was probably about 4 gears, wasn't there, to go? Really, it was just very, um, very controlled and organized, and it's just like basically just get the job done.
yeah, it was total control. It was get through the game. Conserving as much energy as possible. And we, just move on to the next game. Really, I know, as I say, they've done it several times in the last few weeks, and I think it's an active choice in many ways from Arsenal. That might well come back to bite them in a game at some point, though. I think that would be the one sort of worry there. But yeah, I think Arsenal had total control and they knew it.
What are you saying that might come back to bite them? The conservative side of it.
It's not necessarily conservative, right? I think conservative would be an unfair description of it. But it's at 1-0, you are in total control because what if they go and nick one from a sudden set piece or something like that? I'd rather we sort of controlled went for the second, got the second, and then went into sort of control. mode rather than trying to control it at 1-0. But sometimes game state dictates it as well. And I think, when a team shows that lack of ambition, it's less likely to happen. But that would be the only worry, is that happens at some point during the season. I'm going to pick on Everton. You know, Everton, the type of side that will sit in there, sit all day. We could be 1-0 up for, 70, 75 minutes, and suddenly in the 88th minute, they go and score, and suddenly you've got, less than 10 to win it. I'd rather go to 2-0 and control it. But sometimes, as I say, that's the way the game goes. It wasn't that Arsenal weren't trying to win it, but maybe up that intensity a little bit just to try and get that second and then go and sit and control.
Yeah, in a slight rebuttal to that, though, we've done that many times before, and we get countered, and that's how you concede the goal, and then you've got to go chasing another goal, and you end up losing the game. So I get it, I get what you're saying, but again, we had a couple of injuries at that point as well, and it was like, well, let them come at us. If they want to come at us, then we'll counter them rather than going at them and then letting them counter them. So I think it was basically a bit more of a control thing.
Exactly. I think you're exactly right there. Like, there's, as I say, I'm not a bit like your point earlier about the left wing. It's me being uber critical of it, and it could well come back to bite us. But as you rightly say, that's exactly the opposite of it. And in some ways, you could argue that's what happened at Anfield, right? We actually went more attacking and then got caught. Now, we got caught. We gave away.
I think it was the same, actually. I think it was the same intensity through the game. I just think at that point that they kind of gained a bit of control through it, and worked through our midfield a bit more.
Yeah, what I mean by that, though, is that we went more attacking in terms of the personnel on the
The
pitch was sort of more
personnel, yeah.
offensive-minded, which left us right gaps rather than up in intensity. And,
Yeah.
whatever you do, there is a plus and a minus side to whichever approach you take, right?
Yeah.
And that's, that's where that game state, comes into it, which is you need to respond to the game state. And, like I say, I think I'm being total and very, that's the uber critical, and that could happen in the future. But
Mm.
equally, as you rightly say, what you've just said could equally happen when you go for it, and then you get caught, and then suddenly you're chasing it as well.
Yeah, I
Both
mean,
could be true.
yeah, exactly. But at some point, yeah, definitely, if you're losing, you need to you basically need to throw everything on there and just all guns blazing it and hope for the best, and like it happened with Newcastle. So
And City.
people, yeah, and City really, yeah. So people say that Arteta can't adapt. I think that's completely nonsense, to be honest.
I agree with you. I think that's ridiculous.
Yeah, I think he's adapted. In fact, I think he's adapted every single season. He's kind of slightly adjusted the mantra, if you like, every season, and probably overly adjusted it, if anything. So I don't think that's a fair reflection of Arteta at all, to be honest with you. But
I agree, and I wonder if some of that comes from the fact that last season, where we didn't see much of a sort of change during the season, but I think that was limited by the options he had available, and I wonder if that's where that narrative sort of builds from a little bit.
yeah, I agree, and some of it this year as well, where people have said, "Oh, we were screaming out for Eze and Odegaard together." Well, Odegaard wasn't even fit.
Yeah, exactly.
If Odegaard was fit, then Mourinho is nowhere near the starting lineup. I'm sorry.
No.
If Havertz is fit, Mourinho is nowhere near the starting lineup. He's a sub on the bench, and he's there to either come in for Rice, to come in for Zubimendi or whoever. So
or to come in and see out the last 10 minutes of the game when you're winning.
and turn it into a 5, turn it into a 3-man midfield, whatever you want to do it with. I just find it bizarre that people can't see that they call it the 3 fridges because they're all defensive midfielders. You're like, well, Rice hasn't played as a defensive midfielder for how long now? He plays
certainly not regularly.
Yeah, he plays as a box to box. All right, he might sit in at times when we're kind of being, pressed, but he hasn't done it religiously for any duration of time, really. Um, and Marino scored 4 goals for Spain in the same position that he played for Arsenal. So I don't really understand why people can't see that, to be honest.
I
Um,
mean, I think there's two things with that, right? Which is one, on the right sitting in, you're exactly right. Paul Scholes said that there were times when he sat in alongside Roy Keane in that famous Manchester United midfield that was so successful, for 10, 15-minute periods, because that's what the game state dictated. On Moreno, I think it's because I don't like that three midfield. We spoke about it before because I think it is too static. But the
yeah,
idea
of
that he's a
course, yeah,
defensive midfielder is not totally, it's not correct. Um, certainly not how Arteta sees him. But I think the hate for Moreno comes because people didn't like the signing at the time because we were crying out for a starting midfielder, but that starting midfielder wasn't available that summer.
yeah,
The ones we wanted weren't available. Now you could have gone with other options, but what Arsenal basically did was go, this is the type of midfielder we want this summer just gone. We're going to do that 12 months early and we're going to go after Zubimendi next summer and switch it around rather than go after a player we don't want. Moreno for me was always going to come in to be a squad player. He
yeah. I
was
think he
never
was a
going to be.
facilitator as well. To be
Yeah,
honest, I think it was a lot of that was yeah. You can take Marino and you can come back for Zubimendi next year. You're not doing it before then.
yeah.
So I think a lot of that was facilitating. So
And,
yeah,
and Arteta undoubtedly wants him too. So it wasn't just you have to take Moreno if you want Zubimendi. It was you can have Moreno this year, but you can't have Zubimendi. Do we have a deal?
but also by doing that, they gave the assurance as well,
Yeah,
and basically said we won't sell them to anybody else. That's the deal.
yeah, exactly.
We can improve terms and do whatever you want to do, but we won't sell them anywhere else. You honor your side of it.
And
We'll
we'll
honor our side of it. And that's quite rare in football, as we've seen like this transfer window, or the transfer window just gone. So fair play to them too, as well. To be honest, and
yeah.
what a godsend Zubimendi is as well. By the way,
Exactly, and Moreno has his place in the squad as well. Moreno is a player I judge as a squad player. Norgard, squad player. There are certain players you have to take the transfer in context of what they are bought in for, and
yeah,
they are
even
clearly,
Madueke, yeah,
yeah,
it's the same with Madueke, yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. But then I consider Trossard and Martinelli as squad players. Really, there's no real there's not real choosing of which one that lines up on the field. You go, well, they're both decent players, both whatever, but they're both real sub players. But there we go.
yeah. I agree. That's how I look at it. Context is always important in these things, and that's how
Mm,
I would look at it.
yeah, for sure. Khalid says top of the league. Indeed, we are. We're going to go into um the rest of that Saturday very shortly um to see what Dom thinks of that. But Khalid also says, I don't see much urgency in the way we play when we're down. Well, that's not true. That's completely different to what we played when we were down against Newcastle, when we were down against City. Um, yeah, so I think we stepped up the pace. I do think it's supposed to be controlled, and we're supposed to get a goal up from somewhere, whether it be for a set piece or a Gyökeres goal or whatever. Um, but then all guns blazing if that all else fails. So
I mean,
and that should be right.
even against Liverpool, it's the only other time we were down this season. It was an attempt to, but Liverpool, played very, very well and controlled the game out because they were a very good side. But I think when we're down, there's certainly urgency. You saw halftime changes at City. Never seen that unless a player's been injured before. Newcastle, absolutely went for it. There's no question. I think we're going for it. Newcastle before we conceded. But yeah, so I think that I wouldn't agree with that particular characteristic or assessment on that. And you're exactly right. I think the idea here is control the game. Uh, you know, try and suck the life out of the opposition, get the goal, and win it that way. And I think generally speaking, that is the way Premier Leagues are won. You know, if you look at probably the last major two examples of teams going through it all the way through the season, fast pace, table tennis style football, which was Arsenal when they lost to City in that first title race attempt, and Liverpool the year after. Both were going for it. Both ran out of steam in April, and I saw both coming in September. Um, it was obvious that they weren't going to be able to sustain that pace. So I think this is about controlling the tempo, trying to manage, fitness and minutes, so that we can compete on multiple fronts. Doesn't make us as fun to watch as those two sides I was just talking about, but
Absolutely, yeah.
I think it's more likely to win, as in
Yeah,
win trophies.
yeah, I think you have to take that into context a little bit, Khalid. I think he's tried several different ways to win and adjusted it every single time. You could argue he's overly adjusted it on some occasions. You can argue that in some instances he's just playing with what he's got in his toolkit and what's locked away in the changing room because they can't play. So you got a bit of everything, and that really doesn't help. Hopefully this year we don't have that excuse, and it's literally we've got the reserves on the bench. We can put the reserves on. Happy days, let's go.
I, I think the other thing here is there is a little bit of playing back because I think that was to try and draw City out because City went into a very low block and it was to try and draw them out. But I think the intent and the speed there sort of showed that Arsenal were trying to go for it in that game. And I think you can go for it by playing a little bit backwards to try and pull the side out, which is what I think Arsenal are trying to do.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen ourselves that obviously it's hard enough when you're playing, when you're playing against Burnley, for example. A low block is bad enough, but exactly, City don't exactly have bad players. I know that they've got some replacements coming in, but at the end of the day, it's you've got some world class players in there that are playing a low block. It ain't exactly easy to break it down. So yeah, I think there's got to be an element of sideways and backwards. You could argue it wasn't really quick enough, but again, we scored a goal when Martinelli came on.
Yeah, we certainly created more chances as well in that second half when we did go for it.
Yeah, I mean, you could argue it's probably a little bit late for that. So
yes, I think that would be fair.
Yeah. So yeah, my argument would be that needs to happen sooner.
Yes,
and I think we saw that in Newcastle as well. So it did come on sooner, and it was a bit more realistic to go from there.
Yeah, I would agree with that 100%. It was. You can argue it's too late, but I think the intent was still there. One way.
Yeah, indeed.
Spot on.
ST says, I'm a first time viewer. You two are cool. Thank you very much indeed. We're a bit long in the tooth, but we talk crap and whatever like everybody else. So
I'm going to take it. I'm not sure I've ever been called cool before.
Yeah. You sure it's not your son or something?
No, he's fast asleep next door. He's
he wouldn't say that anyway. But
if the thought wouldn't cross his mind, he doesn't sort of think in that way.
Yeah. If you are in here, by the way, please make sure you're subscribing to the channel, liking the live, and sharing it out as well if you wouldn't mind at all. Make sure you're dropping any comments in the comments sections as well. Dom's channel is also in the description, so go and do the same with his channel. Everything.
I'd be very grateful if you did.
Yeah, the subs are free. It doesn't cost you anything. Just go click the sub button, hit the thumbs up button. Happy days, and we'll all get bigger, hopefully. One day. Yeah, it's
a bit late for me to grow bigger, but I can grow outwards and maybe grow the channel. But
yeah, I mean, I'm not growing any bigger, but I am growing outwards, to be fair. So yeah, it's a case of that. I bought a running machine. I have nowhere to put my furniture, so I have to basically put my floor down to get the conservatory furniture out of my shed, so I can put my running machine down, so I can lose my gut. So yeah, it's all a bit of a process.
I play football twice a week. That's about as much as it gets.
Yeah, I mean, I don't do that anymore. I did have I did play, and then I had problems with my knees. So yeah.
Ironically, this will make you laugh. I'm genuinely about 5'1", and
Yeah.
yesterday the other team decided they were going to put an aerial bombardment on me, and I won 23 out of 23 headers. And I know I won 23 out of 23 because by counting them, I was annoying their strength forward so much that eventually he did the predictable and lashed out.
Yeah, you say you're a bit. Did you see Zubimendi's aerial duel figures?
I haven't seen them, but I mean
Yeah,
his aerial duels at Real Sociedad last season were insane, and they haven't been bad at all here. But I didn't see them on Saturday.
absolutely. Yeah, I can't remember exactly what they are, but they're quite impressive.
I was
To be
going to say, I
fair,
mean, just with
yeah.
the eye test, they must have from Saturday. They
Yeah,
must have been impressive,
he's just crazy to be honest. But
and
yeah,
he's not the biggest either.
no, he's I think he's 5'9", isn't he?
Yeah, I was going to say 5'9", 5'10". Yeah,
I think it's something like that. Um, but yes, so yeah, later on in the evening, basically we had the Chelsea Liverpool game. I don't know if anything happened in that game. Do you?
this is my smug face. Um, yeah, I mean, Khalid. Sorry, very quickly. Zubimendi winning headers against Dan Burn. Not many people win headers against Dan Burn.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's just oh god, he's got a proper leap on him. And to be honest, I didn't really see that in Spain. I watched him a lot in Spain. To be honest, when we were linked with him the first time, and then we got the turn down, and then Liverpool apparently signed him. I was blooming gutted. I was absolutely gutted. I was like, no, they can't get him. Um, but yeah, I watched him a lot, and I never really processed the aerial ability. To be honest
It's
with you,
it's not the side of his game you think about though, is it? I mean, you
no.
think about the reading of the game, the passes through the lines, the timing of a tackle, that sort of thing. They're the bits that immediately spring to mind. But I seen when I was looking at him when when it was apparent we were signing him, and I was looking at those figures like, you know, there are concerns about his physicality coming to a league because you never know until a player comes in how they're going to handle it. But that was a bit that sort of made you think, yeah, he may well be all right because of the fact he was just winning all those aerial duels. He had such a high success rate. It made you think, okay, well, actually, maybe he's going to be okay.
Yeah, it's just crazy what he does. To be honest, I really think it's crazy. But when he actually came on against West Ham, you just instantly notice the difference. It
Yeah.
was just absolutely.
The speed went up a notch as well, which is what he is more known for.
But that's what I expected throughout every single game. Basically, the actual speed of getting it out from the back line, basically through the midfield. So I'm not surprised by that. What
No,
one little bit, to be honest.
no, exactly. As I say, it's what he's known for. But his ability to take the ball under pressure on the half turn and move that ball 15, 20 yards further forward is quite sensational.
Yeah, I did watch a stream yesterday that basically, and the guy said that the Rice doesn't take the ball on the half turn. I was like, what? You obviously haven't watched Rice.
He again, but what he does with it is slightly different, which is, he's not quite so astute at sort of playing those sort of pass splitting balls, but he will drive that ball forward and he will still move a pass forward. It's just not with such precision, if you like.
He did a cutting pass that went straight through to Saka and
Yeah,
basically took out the whole midfield in one ball. And yeah, he picked it up on the half turn, I
yeah,
believe.
yeah. He's definitely capable.
It's like,
And
what?
yeah, yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's capable, but not necessarily to the level that Zubimendi can. But you're exactly
Yeah,
right.
for
He can
sure.
take it on the harsh term. No question.
Yeah, I mean, whether he actually then carries on turning with it, that's the question, because obviously he has the ability to release it or to actually turn with it.
Yeah.
So I don't. Yeah, I thought that was a bit of a nonsense analysis, to be honest with you. But there we go. It was from a Tottenham fan. But there we go. So yeah. Yeah, the Chelsea Liverpool game. Before the game kicked off, what were your expectations in this game?
Uh, it's difficult, isn't it? When you because when you know what happened, I felt it was a game where Liverpool could lose points, but I didn't necessarily expect them to lose. I thought they're more likely to get the draw. If you asked me for a side I thought would win the game, I would have gone Liverpool.
Mm.
Um, but a draw wouldn't have shocked me. But as the game went on, you just thought if onside's winning this, it is going to be Chelsea, and I think Chelsea were good value for the 3 points. I think if they'd had a draw on the day, I don't think they could have complained. I don't think they dominated Liverpool, but they were certainly for me the better side. Um, you know, Liverpool just, I think they had a bad day at the office. They've had
Another
a
one.
bad week at the yeah. I was going to say they've had a bad week at the office. And I was saying sort of pre-season, my worry about them was very much they put all of this into the attack. They will blow sides away, but on the days they don't, can they defend well enough? What's their depth like defensively? But my big concern really was the balance of the team, and I thought they got it brilliant against Arsenal. When they did that, I was like, I was slightly worried, not because of the points gap at that point. It was so far to go, and it's like we've lost at Anfield. Like, it's not like we've gone to Burnley and lost. We've lost at Anfield. And we've lost closely. But I thought, Christ, if they can do that and they can do that in the big games, and they can blow away the sort of smaller sides, that's worrying. But they haven't been able to repeat that trick since, and they do look unbalanced. I think there's plenty of time for Slot to sort that out. By no means is this title race over. There'll be plenty of twists and turns to go, but Liverpool have looked like they've struggled, for the last week to find that balance and find that rhythm. Their left side isn't functioning at all well. Right side defensively is a big old risk, and you saw the goal come from there. Cucurella had all that space, and they were playing for that space, Chelsea, and you just felt that's where it was coming from. And the midfield doesn't look balanced, so I think they've got issues to sort out. But no, as I say, I think it's very clear to me that this title race isn't over. This is not done. They've got the quality in the squad to fix it as long as they can keep their defenders fit, because that's where the quality drop off. You were talking earlier about how Arsenal have got the best squad depth in the league. Liverpool could have the best squad depth in the league if their defensive squad depth matched their attacking squad depth. But good result for Arsenal. Much as we like to see Chelsea lose, I think we were all hoping for Chelsea win at the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I was in the pub after the game, and everybody cheered like mad with the goal, and I had some strange looks because I didn't cheer anything because I was like,
Goes against
and
the grain slightly, doesn't it?
and they're like, "Are you not cheering?" I was like, "No, because it's Chelsea. I don't want Chelsea to have any kind of enjoyment at all." But don't you want it for Arsenal? Yes, but that doesn't mean I have to cheer it, does it? That does
Anyway,
not.
I thought these days we're not allowed to cheer a 2-0 win for us, so we definitely can't cheer a 2-1 win for Chelsea.
No, we're not allowed to cheer for anybody else. Let alone we're not allowed to cheer for ourselves
Yeah,
or anybody else. We're damned if we do and damned if we don't.
absolutely.
So yeah, but
And Maresca can run down the sideline and celebrate. That's okay, but Arteta definitely can't, right?
yes, this was another one from uh, Carragher, and he said the difference, right? Because he was on the overlap or whatever it was. The difference is that was a last minute goal, and it was changing the result and doing whatever. You're like, how scripted is that, mate? You know full well that somebody's going to ask you that question, so you've got that already scripted out. That's going to happen. So it's like it's just so see through. And the guy Matt, I can't remember his last name, but yeah, I see him on socials quite a lot. But they basically said he feels that there's a media agenda and this, that, and the other, and fans of every other fan group were just cackling, and you're like, well, yeah, if that doesn't tell you everything that you need to know, then I don't know what it is really.
I mean,
So
I,
it's
I mean, I agree with him from the point of view that look, Maresca, it's against the rules. He gets his second yellow card. He's off, right? Um, no problem with that under the rules. I don't like the fact that he wasn't being allowed to come out and do the post-match press conference. I don't like the fact that they have to 100% celebrate in their area because it's an emotional game and emotions take over. But the rules are there because what you don't want to do is antagonise a fan base to make it unsafe either for the fans or the players. That's what the rules are in place for. So it's
Yeah,
a
I,
difficult one, but
I, I, I
it's
don't,
a
I
good.
don't think it is that difficult, to be honest. I think it's filtered down for the referees to control the narratives. I think that's all it's about. It's not, we spoke about the taking the shirt off for a second,
Yeah,
getting a yellow card for a celebration. I don't think that should be a thing. I don't think it should be a thing for Maresca to get a yellow card either.
no, I mean,
Um,
what my point was, that's what it was brought in for, and that therefore that's the rules. But I'm with you. I don't overly
Yeah,
like the rules.
I think they're basically pressed down on that rule for their own benefit, not for anybody else's benefit at all. And I know that that's supposed to be the purpose, but he went and celebrated with his player. At the end of the day, that's it. And we've seen Klopp do it. We've seen Arteta do it, get booked and do whatever. I mean, we've seen Klopp do it and not get anything. So,
Yeah, we've seen Marino do it. Obviously, that was before the rules were changed.
yeah, that was before the rules
Yeah,
anyway. But yeah, it's all a bit of a nonsense to me.
yeah, I agree.
I think it's taking the passion out of the game. I don't think anybody should be getting yellow cards for being outside the technical area. I don't think anybody should be getting vilified for being outside the technical area. And I have been known to post messages about a certain manager, one that got a yellow card and was given a red card for being outside of his technical area for the whole game, and nobody takes a blind bit of notice to my tweet or whatever, or my post or whatever. But the second that Arteta does it and he stands on the touchline and points at something, it's crime of the century. And it's like, you know, if it's fine for one manager to do it, it's fine for another manager to do it.
Yeah,
And I think that's all that they're doing. Basically going, well, he's causing no problem to anybody. He just points to somebody. And
yeah.
that was it.
It's very different if he comes out of technical area, starts shoving, pointing, gesticulating at the opposition bench, or abusing the fourth official. But he can do that from inside the technical area, and it's still an offence, and you do it. When he takes any manager takes a step or two outside the technical area, does it overly matter? No.
No, what got me in the Newcastle game actually, and this is actually worse than booking a manager or whatever for being outside of the technical area. Trippier basically took a throw in, and then he relocated himself to take the throw in somewhere else, just so that he could push Arteta back into his technical area.
I don't remember that one.
Yeah,
Did he use
he
a
did.
towel to do it?
Huh?
Did he use a towel to do it?
No, he didn't use a towel. No, the towel had been taken away by that point.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculous, though, isn't it? I mean,
And it's just pathetic nonsense. You just like, anything to cause and antagonize to get somebody booked. And I don't agree with that from a player. I think it was De Bruyne that basically pushed into Arteta because he had the audacity to kick a ball that was in the technical area. You just like, as a player, you don't need to touch a manager. A manager doesn't have to touch you. You don't need to get involved. There's no need for that. You're just riling something up for no purpose whatsoever. And I'm not saying that just because it's Arteta. I think that's the case with any manager, whoever that is, whether Maresca's doing it, whether Slot's doing it, whatever. But yeah, I just don't get it.
no, I agree with you 100%. I don't like it when players try to get each other sent off either, to be honest. But no, I agree with you 100%.
I understand it more if it's a player on a player, but although there used to be a professional code, they wouldn't try and get each other sent off. But that seems to be out the window now. But they seem to do it on odd occasions with the managers as well. Certainly certain teams anyway.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
yeah, I don't really understand why it is, or why anybody would feel the need that they have to point out that somebody's outside the technical area. You don't have to get involved. Literally, just walk away, take your throw in, carry on with the game.
No, agree. Particularly if they're not doing anything sort of to antagonise you in any way, shape,
Yeah,
or form.
literally pointing. It was
Yeah,
just literally pointing.
exactly.
You know, all right. Yeah, there's a white line on the grass. Yeah, who cares, really?
Exactly.
You
Exactly.
know, when you take your throw in and you put your foot over the white line and your foot is technically in play, and you know technically should be a foul throw, you should be worried about that.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. If I sort of see that box as a guide rather than, this is where you must stand. I once got booked, funny enough, at an under sevens match for tending outside my technical area. You try and control a bunch of 7-year-olds on and keep them in a bloody box on the
Yeah,
sideline.
yeah, I can't imagine that that would go very well, but yeah.
One of the
Um,
daftest things I ever saw. That.
Yeah, yeah, seems a little bit insane,
But there you
yeah. What do you think? What do you put Liverpool's problems down to? I guess.
I think it's a couple of things. I think one, I think they've got a few players out of form, and a few big players out of form, slash a couple sort of struggling to settle. In I think that will settle down over time. Um, I think secondly, I think they've adjusted the style quite significantly, and I think that, as was alluding to earlier, has unbalanced the side. I think they have put everything into attack, and I think almost the attack is playing with fear as a result of that because they're worried that one bad performance means that you're going to lose your place because of the quality they've got there. Um, and I think it's sort of those two issues combined really, which is, as I say, the players out of form slash struggling to settle, and almost tactically too much has changed and it doesn't quite work. I think it's as simple as that. I think it will correct itself over time. I think, that they're not going to finish, 10, 15, 20 points off the top. They've just had a bad week, and it happens.
So, do you think that they revert back to the old style, or wait for the new style to kick in, and how long do you see it taking?
Um, I mean, I think some of it will depend on how quickly. Oh, God, I sound like Chewbacca then from Star Wars. But there we go. How quickly they come back into form, I think, will be sort of somewhat of the answer to that question. If they come back from international duty back in better form, it'll be quicker than otherwise would have been the case. But I think in terms of the tactical stuff, which is what the manager can control slightly more, I think he sort of showed he can fix it quite quickly with that performance against Arsenal because it was quite radically different. I think what it will be is a tweak somewhere between what they did last season and this season. But what I do think is interesting is whether this change in style and the significant change in style this year has come because, and I don't know, I've no evidence for this, it's just a gut feel, that he was worried that people saying this is Klopp's team that won it and he won it playing Klopp's way, which is quite true, but not
It
totally
was.
true.
It was.
There was a slight tweak to it, which was they were slightly less gung ho, but it was a small tweak that
Yeah,
he
just
made.
press less. That's it.
Yeah, exactly, which is a small tweak, but
Yeah.
by and large, you're exactly right. And wonder whether it was, no, no, I'm going to show you that this was on me, and so I don't think he's going to fully go back because I don't think he will want to. But I think there will be a tweak back in that direction. But I do think it will somewhat correct itself. But I said at the start of the season, Arsenal were my favourites and for the title, and I stand by that. I think we're the most settled squad, and I think we're the best squad. And while our 11 might be the second best, you don't win it with an 11. You win it with a squad, and I think that's why we'll win it this year. But I think it will correct itself relatively quickly. But mind you, I say that they've got a very tough run of fixtures to come. So, but
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they've got United next, and United have potential, and I say potential because it might not happen, to get back-to-back wins and it'd be against Liverpool, and that is going to be mad if that happens.
Well, help that poor guy out that's waiting for 5 wins in a row. That would be, he's waiting to get his hair cut. But
Yeah, I mean, I think you need to reassess his life choices. To be honest with
yeah,
you.
I mean, I do too. I think it's
Yeah.
ridiculous. But fair play to him for following through. But what was I going to say? It is possible. It's also possible that Manchester United get done by 5. Um, you just never know with United. But it wouldn't shock.
Wasn't that when they were done by 7? It actually looked like Man United were coming back, and Liverpool were a bit off it,
Yeah,
and,
yeah,
and they did them 7-0, didn't they?
yeah, they
So there's
did.
always that possibility, isn't there, of waking the beast, as it were.
There is, and you just never know. And particularly coming back off the international break, it's even harder to tell. I mean, no result would shock me in that one. I'm starting to sound like Michael Owen here, but no result
Mm.
would shock me because it wouldn't shock me if Liverpool dropped points, but it also wouldn't shock me if they went and battered Manchester United because United aren't a good side and Liverpool objectively are. I just think, as I say, they need to find that balance back, and if they find that balance back, I think they'll help find the form back of those players.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, I hopefully it will continue for a long time to be rubbish because that helps us out massively.
yeah, for sure. But I mean, obviously we've got to do our bit for a start off
Yeah.
anyway. But yeah, just a bit mad. I mean, that you said Liverpool's fixtures are hard. I mean, they're harder than they have been. But I mean, by Liverpool standards, they shouldn't really be hard as such. They're harder, but
Yes.
I don't think they're particularly hard. I mean, they've got United, which is probably one of the harder ones purely on limbs rather than it's
It's
basically
the emotion around that fixture,
yeah,
isn't
it's the emotion of it, yeah, and then they've got Brentford away.
it?
I mean, all right, it's got potential.
No, I think that you'd be banking on them to win that one. You'd be
Yeah,
massively
absolutely,
disappointed if
yeah,
you're a Liverpool fan if you didn't.
and even Villa, they got Villa next. I think, all right, Villa are better, but it's at Anfield. I don't really see them losing that. Um, and then who they got? And then they've got Man City at Etihad.
Yeah, I thought they had City and Brentford the other way around. I thought they went United then City, but I mean I know you're reading it off, but in my mind that's why I was saying the next few are hard because I had those two fixtures the other way around.
Yeah, I mean, if they drop points in that run, in my opinion, I think they've kind of failed. If they're going further behind from that position, bearing in mind, in kind of reverse order from that point, we have Sunderland, Burnley, Palace, tricky one that. I think that's harder for us than it was for Liverpool. Purely because it's a London derby. But
I agree, but I think you'd be disappointed as well as as an Arsenal fan not to win that at home.
yeah, I mean, and I think it's an advantage that they're not on the winless streak, the no loss streak as well.
Yeah,
So I think that's an advantage that's broken.
and their
So
Europe games will start to kick in as well.
yeah, so I think from that position, I don't think that's a bad thing. And then obviously Fulham away, which we didn't do. Did we lose at Fulham or did we draw at Fulham last
We certainly
season?
dropped points. I think
I
we
think
lost, didn't we?
I think we lost at Fulham last
Yeah, I
season.
think we drew the season before and lost last year.
Yeah, I think we lost 2-1, didn't we? Because
Yeah, I think
didn't we didn't they get a man sent off and then they still came back and
I can't remember about the man sent off, but I think it was the one where they mishit that shot and it chipped Raya.
yeah, I think so. I think I recall that, but I think
Yeah.
they had a man sent off as I kind of
They might
recall
have had a
because
man sent. I think they had a man sent off in like the 89th minute because everyone was going, "You lost to 10-man Fulham." Like they lost in the eight. They had a man sent off with like 5 minutes to go. Like
yeah,
um,
and I think one of those was linked to a celebration as well. So
yeah, it might well have been.
I don't think we definitely didn't play the whole game. We might have thought that we should have been playing against 10 men, but we definitely weren't.
Yeah.
So
I mean, if Liverpool were to come out of that run of with 10 points and we came out of it with 12, which is by no means a given because you can lose any game in this league. I was talking last week about, or was it last week? Yeah, I was talking recently about the fact that Arsenal will be looking at this run of fixtures and looking for maximum points from it, but you know, you don't necessarily get maximum points from every game because it's the Premier League. Then they're the old cliche, they're played on the grass, not on paper. But if we came out with 12, which is not, it's got to be the aim. I mean, it should be the aim anyway of every time, but that's not out of the question. And they came out with 10, then I don't think Liverpool would be too disappointed because those run of games are harder than ours. But as you say, Liverpool have got to be aiming for 12, and so will we, because I think we're the best two sides in the league.
Yeah, I think so. But I mean, I think was there 5 games that I just said there?
I think you did 4. Was it United, Brentford, Villa, and then City?
Okay, so
I
yeah,
can't remember
okay.
what you said after that. I don't think you did. But
Don't know if I did. Yeah, it's a lack of counting. You see. Yeah, the following week we've got Spurs at home,
yeah,
and Liverpool have got Forest, so they're obviously on a
but
easier
they'll
field.
have sacked hands by then. So
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it starts to get a bit more tricky for us after that. So, but yeah, I mean, we've all got to play each other twice. So at the end of the day, it is what it is, isn't it? But
it's what I find so ridiculous going into last season. Liverpool going to run away with the title, they're favourites. 3 weeks later, Arsenal are favourites. Like, come on, there's been a 4-point swing.
yeah. Yeah, we need to see where we're at after 19 games, really.
Yeah, that's when I
to
started
go,
judging.
okay, right, okay. Now we've played everybody. Let's see where we are. We obviously know that some have been home, some have been away. I think most of ours will have been away at that
Yeah,
point.
yeah.
Whereas most of Liverpool's will have been at home.
But
So
you can make an adjustment for that, right? For
yeah,
me,
so
I start to really think about it in terms of the title. Like seriously think about it around about mid to end of November. That's when I start thinking about it.
yeah, I mean, yeah, the main kind of target, I guess, is January 1st, isn't it? When you get to January 1st, you can kind of get a focus on the actual table and just go,
Yeah.
well,
That's
we
when
could,
you're around the 18, 19 point mark, right?
yeah,
Game
we
marks,
could,
sorry.
yeah, so somewhere around there. And yeah, we'll see when it is on here actually, because it is actually numbered. So the 19th is, it's the 30th of December is the 19th.
Yeah, sometimes that game just slips into that first week of January, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah. I mean, we started a bit later anyway, didn't we, last year? So that was
Yeah,
probably a week
it was
later
because of the
anyway.
Euro.
So
Yeah, because of the Euros, wasn't it?
yeah, so I think we got I think we're right. I think we're on game 18 on January 1st, and then end of January basically was game week 19. But I don't think there's no Boxing Day games this week, is this year, is there?
Is it not? I hadn't clocked that.
No. Well, apparently they might put some
Oh,
in Boxing Day, but
yes, I remember now. There was a furore around it when the fixtures came out, but
yeah,
apparently there aren't Boxing Day games every year when they publish them, and then they put them back in, or they haven't been for a while, and then they
yes,
put them in.
yeah. I mean, I don't really know why they wouldn't. To be honest, I mean, surely that's kind of a part of a footballer's routine just to do that, and they just take a day off a bit later, don't they? So
Yeah. Well, and the other thing about looking at it is, wouldn't you rather go, okay, with the Boxing Day fixture, we're playing on Boxing Day, and then find out you're not, rather than, oh, great, we're not on Boxing Day. Oh no, we are.
yeah, probably. But yeah, at the moment that all the games are on the 27th, but
We
with
know that's not going to hold.
yeah, it's not going to happen, is it? So the actual TV schedule is only up until the 30th of November anyway. So yeah, but yeah, so you're under the impression that that Arsenal are going to win it, and we're all going to be celebrating at the end of the season.
Hopefully. I mean, I said that last year, which is the first time I've probably said that in the best part of 20 years.
Yeah,
But, I think this season feels very different, and I still maintain last season could have gone differently. But yeah, this is the second time I've said it since, certainly the mid 2000s. It just feels that it's there, and you just feel everything is there for it to happen.
Yeah. So where does that if we don't win anything, where does that leave Arteta?
I think that leaves him under significant pressure, right? I mean, I think it all depends on circumstances around it. If Liverpool went and said, Liverpool, let's say, went and got over 100 points and we finished second with 98, you reach,
You can't do anything about that.
yeah, and you reach, say, the Champions League final and lost it, then, you could make the case. But I think as a default, I think you're probably at this point saying, Mikel, great job. Thanks very much. Um,
You're
but
going
we're
with
going to,
somebody more experienced.
yeah, I mean, we spoke about it earlier. If you won a League Cup, I think you could probably say, "Hey, this is the springboard for it," as long as everything else was sort of relatively close. But I mean, it's not something I tend to think about this moment in time because, it's 7th of October.
No, no. I mean,
But,
I'm just
but,
getting your
but no, no, it's a fair question.
perspective from. I'm not trying to instigate or
No,
insinuate
no, I know.
anything whatsoever. I'm just trying to see where you are,
No, I get it.
in terms of your opinion on it, rather than anything else. To be
No,
honest.
no, I got it. Sorry, what I mean was, I haven't given it overly thought because I think we can win something and it's so early, but I think it's a valid question. Particularly as it's coming from the right place rather than, when are you going to get on board the Arteta out train? um, you know,
Yeah, and I'm of the opinion as well, and I think I saw Dan Potts say this as well, which everybody says that he's quite negative, and I don't always watch him because sometimes he is a bit too negative for me, and it's quite sometimes I find it a little bit depressing. But in fairness to him, I'm of the same opinion of as him really, that if Arteta wins anything, then that buys him another year.
yes,
That is my opinion, and
mine too.
some people won't like it, but my opinion is that anything in the silverware buys him another year. If he doesn't move on from there, then obviously we have to readdress that.
Yeah, and that's where I'm at too. To be blunt, I think that's what like I say, there is that exception, which is if you were to go to a Champions League final, you were to get 98 points and come second in the league, you could potentially there. But as a
What
rule, that's where
so do you think if we got to the final and hit record points and still didn't win it, and win nothing else, then that could be.
I think is the operative word there. I think you could see a case for him staying, but my default position is the same as yours.
Yeah, so the emotion of it would probably say, well, yeah, thanks very much.
That would be my default position.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
you know,
I think I'm the same. Yeah, I'm not with these people. But I saw people after the Newcastle game, right? And I won't mention people because they wind me up. Anyway, but but yeah, I saw people basically going on and talking about what finals the manager's been to and this, that, and the other. And you're like, you've just been talking about being able to switch a game by throwing the kitchen sink at it, by basically being too conservative and giving away points. And he's shown you that he can do the opposite of that and actually go out and win a game. And you're still on his case about what final you've been in. I just find it bizarre.
I find it bizarre as well. I mean, he's been in an FA Cup final, he won that, but but no,
Yeah, I mean,
I'm being flippant on purpose. But
yeah.
I agree with you. I think there are things you can criticise Mikel Arteta for. There are things you can criticise every manager for, and I have no issue with that. My entire thing here is balance, and a lot of people sort of say you're an Arteta apologist. And look, I think Arteta is a very good manager. I think Arteta can win. That is absolutely true. But sometimes it will appear that way because I will defend him from ridiculous things. I had to defend him in the summer because someone said it was outrageous he was taking a week's holiday.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I was like, do you
and the,
understand how the human body
and the,
works? We all need a
but
holiday, regardless of how much
but
we make.
the reason for that is because he's not dealing with transfers, which isn't his job. And you're just like, what? Just make it make some sense, please. You
Yeah,
just talk absolute waffle,
yeah,
and
you know,
it's most of it is Twitter nonsense and YouTube nonsense as well, to be honest. Because I mean, I don't know if you're into Formula One, but
not so much. But
right,
I'm
okay,
I, I'm aware of it enough to be able to,
yeah, I
hold
mean,
hold a conversation about it.
yeah, there's a lot of Oscar Piastri fans that are upset with Lando Norris fans that are upset with McLaren, and it's just like, oh, just you just read some of it, and it's just like, oh, just grow some nuts for God's sake. Right, Formula One, you're driving around at 180 miles an hour. You're going to bump some wheels.
Yeah,
So long as you're not putting the other car in the wall or smashing the car to smithereens, perfectly fine. And it's the same with football to a certain degree. You know, your teammates are your teammates. Actually, another question that kind of sprung me into something else that I didn't ask you, but the penalty awards against West Ham. Obviously, Saka took it, and Gyökeres wanted it apparently, or what? They had a bit of a confab, and then Gyökeres wandered off, and Saka took the penalty. What are your thoughts on that?
as far as I'm aware, Saka was a designated penalty taker still. I don't really care who scored it; it went in. Both are very good penalty takers. Gyökeres clearly not that upset because he clearly was ecstatic that it went in and ran over to celebrate. I don't really care as long as someone scores it, and it's
Yeah,
similar with this. Gyökeres, hasn't scored that many. Yeah, but he's also done a lot of work for the team, a lot of good for the team. A little bit, a few inches either way on a couple of occasions, and actually, he's suddenly on 5 or 6 rather than 3.
yeah.
Um, and his movement and his ability is creating space for others that are scoring. And Arsenal aren't centered around one person scoring; they're centered around 5, 6 players scoring. That's just the way we are. And I think it's the same thing with this. Both are very good penalty takers. I don't care which one of them takes it as long as they score. And
I have to.
eventually, one of them's going to miss anyway.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm of the same opinion. But I have to call out. I have to say, well done to Martinelli as well, because I think on that goal, when he could have just tapped it in before it hit the post.
The Olympiacos one, you mean?
The
Yeah,
Olympiacos
yeah,
one. I think he could have literally tapped it in. He could have taken that goal for himself.
yeah,
But he actually straddled it he actually made it more awkward for himself, trying to stay out of the way of it. So he got the goal, and then he went and tapped it in,
yeah.
and he actually risked us not scoring that goal
I was going to say,
by doing it. So it was fair play. He was trying to help his teammate out, but we almost didn't get that goal because of him doing it.
yeah,
So
I,
it was like fair play to doing it, but yeah, maybe
I,
don't do it.
yeah, exactly. And I think some of it will be because they want to make sure they want to check. They will be aware of the narrative, right? And I think it's about changing the narrative rather than boosting his confidence because he doesn't look like a player out of confidence to me. He
Yeah.
looked still
I
banging.
think he's growing in confidence. I
Yeah,
really do. Yeah, I think he is growing in confidence as
his
well.
all-round game is improving definitely.
Yeah, and
Arsenal adapting to him, he's adapting to them.
yeah. I mean, you can't expect everything to be all guns blazing, you know, straight away. To be honest, and he scored 3 goals anyway. Um, is it 4 now?
3, I think he's on.
Well, yeah, because he didn't score in Olympiacos. Just got that
Yeah.
in my head now. But yeah, it's to be honest. I mean, was one of them in Port Vale?
Nope, didn't score
No,
against
he
Port
didn't
Vale
score
either.
in Port
He's
Vale either,
he's
did
got
he?
1 against Leeds and 2 against Forest.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. So still three league goals. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was kind of wondering why he's getting so much kind of attention when he's actually scored three Premier League goals. But yeah,
It's
although
because
what?
he hasn't scored in the last 6 appearances, isn't it? And he's
Yeah.
got 3 in 10, and, the league, Havertz was getting grief last year for 1 in 2. But,
Mm,
it's because the league average should be, as a top striker in the Premier League, you should be at least 1 in 2, and he's way behind that. But equally, we played City, we played Manchester United, we played Liverpool, we played
yeah.
Newcastle, and he's new to the side, and it is a significant tactical shift to adapt to him from what it was before. So it's not just for him to tactically adapt to
Yeah, it's
to
for
the
us to adapt
system,
to him. Yeah,
it's for us to,
absolutely.
and also for him to adapt to the league. And let's
Yeah.
be honest, he's struck the post 3 times, I think it's definitely twice.
Yeah, nearly broke the post once.
Yeah, that was against, Leeds, wasn't it, when he absolutely levered it. Ironically, I thought he should have crossed that across the, box, but,
Yeah, there
um
was a couple of occasions actually. I can't remember what game it was now. Where was that Olympiacos? Where Martinelli could have set him up, and he could have set Martinelli up.
Yeah, I can't remember which game it was, but there's been I wasn't sure if that was one game, but there's been certainly a couple of occasions when that's
I
certainly
think
been.
I think it was the same game. I'm pretty sure it was the same game. But yeah, he could definitely have crossed to set one up, and vice versa. So I can't remember what game it was now.
There's certainly been, one certainly that sticks in my mind most was, against Forest, and certainly in the early parts of the season with Martinelli, 2 or 3 times where you thought, "Just lay that ball across," and you either delayed it too long or taken a shot from a daft angle. Uh,
Yeah, for sure. He did have a one as well where he slipped, and I do think that maybe he should have backed out of that and let Martinelli take it.
yeah, and there's been a couple of occasions as well where it's been fired across and he's sort of come in on the end of it and, just missed his boot.
Yeah, I mean, there's been occasions where I've kind of seen that they're kind of taking each other's space,
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
on top of each other a little
Yeah.
bit. So that needs to be adjusted as well. So
And again, I think it will, but they both very much run into that. Gyökeres drifts left when Martinelli's not used to that because Havertz tended to drift right. And Arsenal got overloads as a result of that. The problem was that there was then not enough players coming in at the back post because it was really only a left winger and potentially Declan Rice trying to bang in over there. But, you're exactly right. It needs sorting out, but I think it will be.
yeah, I think it sorted itself out. I think it's just because Gyökeres naturally drifts into that position
Yeah,
anyway, and the left winger
isn't used to it.
needs to realise it's happening. Yeah.
It's one of the things that excited me though about Gyökeres was the fact that actually our attack was so right side dominant that actually his ability to drift left kind of helped balance
Balances it
our
out.
attack. Um,
Yeah, especially when you've got White and you've got Erdegaard and you've got Saka on that side, they can do the triangle with themselves, and then you've got either a Martinelli and Gyökeres, or a Trossard and Gyökeres, Eze Gyökeres.
Even Declan Rice coming from deep.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I think that will balance out once it gets sorted out. But yes.
But in summary, I'm not worried about him at all.
No, I think he'll come good. I certainly hope so. We don't need the Nunes situation that Liverpool had or anything like that.
No,
So we just need to let it bed in, and like you say, he's shown signs of doing that anyway. So it's just a case of letting it settle down, and hopefully that's
as well as
it.
showing parts of the game that he's not necessarily known for, which is his hold up play and build up play, which I think has improved
Yeah.
significantly and has been better than I thought it might be.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you consider that the likes of Havertz has been utilised for that kind of purpose. So I do see Havertz and Gyökeres kind of working together in some instances. So yeah,
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it last week. I can see it in some instances. I don't expect to see it start too often, but agreed. And I think you'll see sort of horses for courses selections as well. Um,
yeah, I think he'll he'll be a see out a game kind of hold up, just to kind of take control of the ball in the middle of the park, just allow an outlet basically. So yeah, but yeah, um, international break now. So not a lot going on. We got Erdegaard's got the MCL, so the international break has come for a decent time for him at least.
He
We
could
don't.
be days to up to sort of 6 weeks with that sort of injury.
I heard it was like between 2 and 8 weeks.
That's
So
yeah.
depending on the grade. So yeah, hopefully that's nothing. The knock from Rice seems to be absolutely nothing as well. And I can understand you were talking about the Gabriel thing. He kind of got landed on, didn't he? So I didn't think that was going to be a problem for him.
No,
Probably a bit of discomfort for him, but nothing of any great shakes. So I was quite was not surprised to see him
no.
play.
My concern, like we said, at the top, I wasn't surprised to see him play. My concern was the amount of minutes he had played and whether he needed a rest. But because I'd like to have seen Mascara start, but I
Yeah.
think it was less of a surprise on the grounds that Hincapié was still not fit.
Yeah, you might find that he thinks that Mascara's done too many minutes. So
Yes, that is true. Yeah,
he's played more minutes than was ever planned to. So they might put the misplaced pass that he did down to fatigue and just try and take him out of the limelight for a little
yeah,
bit,
possibly.
let me cover, and yeah, and hopefully it sorts itself out as well.
But it looks like we
So
might see a few contracts coming through though this month, this international break. Raya apparently has signed a new.
yes, he did that in the summer apparently, along with Trossard.
Yeah,
So that they both had approved terms. I don't know if was Raya an extended contract or was it
no,
an
no
improvement?
new terms, same length.
Same length. So
There are some reports that there might have been an option for Arsenal added,
okay, so
but
another
that
year.
depends on who's reporting it.
Well, I read a report as well that Real Madrid were in for Raya, and that he basically turned around and said he's happy at Arsenal. He doesn't want to go to Madrid at this point. He's completely happy where he is. So you know, he's definitely one of the top two at least top two keepers in the Premier League for me.
I think as an all-round goalkeeper, I agree. It's him and Alisson. Donnarumma, obviously the best shot stopper I think in the league, but
For me, I think Donnarumma is number three, but
I agree.
only on the basis that he hasn't proved himself in the Premier League. I think I don't think he has to do very much to step up the ladder. Alisson is having recurring injuries, so I think it's arguable whether he's coming off the top spot. Whether he's off the top spot yet, I'm not entirely sure. I'd probably just about still keep him there and put Raya second and Donnarumma third. So
Yeah,
that
that
would
that would be my 3 as well. And I think
yeah.
that's also, you're right on the Premier League experience thing, but I think I'm talking about all-round goalkeeper, where you look at all facets of the game. That would be the way I'd rank them anyway.
Yeah, I mean, again, the style of play is different in the Premier League, and it'd be interesting to see how he adapts to actually playing out. And Donnarumma, I mean, whether he actually adapts to the playing out facet of the game,
Yeah.
or
Or whether City adapt to
whether
play
they adapt to him. Yeah, so it'd be interesting to see. But I think I don't think again, I don't think he has to do much to step up the ladder. But I do think that will be at the cost of Alisson, who's getting recurring injuries.
Yeah, exactly, because he's out until November. isn't he, with that latest hamstring injury?
Another hamstring. Didn't he have the hamstring last
Yeah,
season as well?
yeah.
Was it the other one? Do you know? Do you know which one
I
it was?
don't know which one it was, but I know it was a hamstring last year.
Yeah, because if that's a recurrence, then
Yeah, it starts to become
uh,
more worrisome.
yeah, it's very suspect of whether his days of playing out the way he plays out are
And
numbered,
I numbered, yeah, yeah,
because it takes a lot to keep pumping those balls through like that.
yeah. And the way he plays them is beautiful, but it does then put that extra stress on the body.
Yeah, so it's not even just stress on the actual kicking foot, is the standing foot as
Standing for,
well.
yeah, yeah.
It's just crazy because you basically have to go through everything. So yeah, I hope it's not long term for him, but yeah, if it is recurring, then that might be coming off top spot sooner rather than later, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah, and it'd be interesting to see how their Georgian keeper, who I won't attempt to pronounce the name of, steps in.
Mamashvili,
Yeah, Mamashvili. That's eight. Yes, exactly. That's spot on. Well done.
sort of.
But I'm,
Mm.
I'm giving you full credit for it.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. There's nobody here to tell us different, so
no,
that's what we're
no, no.
going with.
But yeah, no. It's I think that's exactly right. And whether we'll see others as well. Timber, apparently, we've started contract talks with. I mean, that'll be a way off. You'd have thought being done if we've only just started. But I think that's good news, and hopefully Declan Rice as well, because he's out in 2 years.
Yeah, I think we were talking about that, weren't we? I think it's
Yeah,
2.5 years or something like that.
yeah,
So, but Rice is already on 240K. Um, so maybe that's just an extension. Um,
yeah. That would be ideal.
yeah, but I know that Timber is, I think he's on like 90K.
Yeah, he's it may be 100, but he's not on mega bucks.
Yeah.
But then he was a young defender coming from the Dutch league into the Premier League. So
Yeah, but we still got him for a good price as well.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I'm quite
absolutely.
surprised it's not a little bit more than that.
No, but you can sort of see why he's on that. I mean, Zubimendi's on 75 reportedly, so
75K.
it's
Just
unbelievable.
madness that. I mean, it can't be long. You know, you got to be looking 6 months to a year, and they've got to give him improved terms. They
You'd have thought so, yeah.
ain't going to keep him on that for very long because
I mean, great if he does, but yeah,
yeah, but I mean,
realistically, it's
yeah, I mean, I understand trying to reduce the wage bill, but when you've got your top players like that on that kind of money, it's just a whole world of trouble.
particularly when you
And
then start seeing, the likes of Salilba and others getting their money and he's not.
yeah, I don't know what Saliba's improved money's on.
No, I don't think it's
It
come
is
out
yet.
yet. No, I don't think it's
So
come out.
yeah, so in fact they have nobody acknowledged the Raya improvement. So they
No,
kept
no
that
one picked up
very
on it, did
quiet.
they? I mean, as you say, it's signed in the summer and only just coming out now.
Yeah, so they must have there must be some kind of um acknowledgement list or whatever for the actual wages
Yeah,
come out recently for them to even acknowledge that, I guess.
yeah. I mean, you've got to give credit to Arsenal really because they do keep things under wraps so well, and so often. It's a pain for us supporters, but credit to the club.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it is a pain really. I think it's I think it's quite nice that sometimes you just get something that just appears out of nowhere rather than
Back in the
bosh.
good old days when we found out on teletext.
CFAX, and CFAX. Actually, something else that came out today was the old stadium expansion thing
Yeah,
that's come
yeah.
out. It's come out as an exclusive, but I'm pretty sure we knew about this like weeks ago, to be
Well,
honest.
it's
But
not a shock, right? I mean, I, I
no,
I put a video out on it earlier today saying it wasn't, and I spoke about it when Tim Lewis was replaced, and they brought in a property portfolio person into the board. It was fairly obvious that's what they were doing, you
yeah,
know. And we spoke about it last week, which I think, or a week before, which was the
yeah,
issues are going to be around the local infrastructure rather
yeah,
than anything else in the local council. But you know, the sort of article sort of alludes to the fact they're going to try and raise the steepness of the seats to try and get the extra capacity, and that you could sort of see how that might get through planning wise, and there's obviously minimal disruption, although potential move to Wembley for a while. But you still got the issue around tube capacity.
Yeah, and there's two tube stations as well on match day that they just close
Yeah,
2 hours before. And there was talk of them being upgraded the last time that they were on about it. So
which
I
hasn't
can only,
happened.
yeah, well, I can only imagine that they wanted Arsenal to pay for it.
Yeah. Oh god, yeah. Well,
And
Transport for London's, having to borrow money off the government, isn't it? Because it's
yeah, they have no money, do they?
they've no money. They've had, they've had to be given permission to raise prices and all sorts. Understandably so. COVID was, a massive impact on their finances, but
Yeah.
therefore you'd have thought, as a quid pro quo, you want planning permission, fine. Our concern to this, what you're going to do to help fund that.
Yeah, and again, that's what happened last time, and yeah, I just wonder if that's going to be well. I don't wonder, that's going to be the case, isn't it? They're going to try every trick in the book to try and get the regeneration of the local area funded by Arsenal. So
Yeah,
you know,
and it's fairly common for that sort of thing. Man City being the obvious example. I mean, that was wasteland, but they have rejuvenated that area, but that helped them get planning permission.
yeah. So I mean, everybody goes, "Oh, look at what they've done for the local area." Yeah, they wouldn't get planning permission if they didn't. So
No, exactly.
that's literally what they do. You go, well, you pay for this regeneration of this area, then we'll think about it. Until then, you can bugger off.
Yeah,
It's
and you can
basically
understand why the local authorities do so.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, obviously, another 10,000 people on match day is definitely going to be a burden on London traffic. So something's got to happen for that infrastructure to actually work.
Yeah, agreed.
So yeah, I mean, there was talk of making it 80,000, but
70,000 was what the article says. That feels
yeah,
more likely to
yeah,
me.
yeah. I mean, I don't really understand how making the seating steeper makes more seats, to be honest.
Because you've got the same amount of space, but you can go higher, so therefore you can get more rows in.
Well, yeah, but you can only there's only the same height, isn't there?
Yeah, but you've got you're getting more rows in, aren't you, by making it higher, so there's less space going back. That's the angles you're looking at.
Mm.
That I can follow.
Yeah, but I mean, I mean, it's not that's not going to give you 10,000 seats, is it?
I mean, I don't know, because if I could see it, I could probably do the maths, but I would be struggling to see how they're not going to have to expand either expand it outwards or upwards slightly.
Yeah, it would have to go up, wouldn't it? Surely.
Yeah. Well, you could go outwards too, I suppose, to do it that way. But in terms of you just do it by steepness, you'd have to go just up, as you say. But I can't see how you can get 10,000. But maybe you can. I haven't seen the numbers behind it, and I'm certainly not an architect. So
yeah, it would be interesting to see if. I mean, I always thought that that it was built that way so they could put another tier on it, and I do know that it needs a new roof. So
not as badly as United need a new roof.
No, definitely not. He did have a leak, and they have fixed the leak, to be fair. So yeah, it's definitely not as drastic. Anyway, yeah, anything you'd like to add?
No, good international break period between the two. Shame this
No
international break has
injuries.
arrived. Bar Odegaard again.
Yeah.
And Hincapié, of course. But no major new injuries. Plenty of points on the board. Arsenal in good shape. I think in some ways it's shown the international break has come, because we were, gaining some momentum. But Arsenal with an opportunity to continue that after the break for sure.
Yeah, I think Liverpool will be happy for the break, wouldn't they?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, I think United would probably want to get the game going this weekend, given that they won last weekend, and the struggles of Liverpool, I guess. But But yeah, if they're all on international duty and such like as well, they won't be training with each other either. So um, yeah, could be a little bit sketchy, but I do expect them to click. I just don't know how long that would take, to be honest.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, I was sort of giving it a go earlier, but it's complete, finger in the air stuff because we're not there, and all we can do is hope that it's going to take ages and ages to click.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I wanted to take it forever and a day, to be honest, and
Yep.
I won't care if somebody says, "Well, you didn't have an opponent to fight for the title, or whatever." I don't care. You want to throw any caveat my way, I'll just throw it back to you and go, we won the title, so I don't really care.
Yeah, exactly.
So not interested. There's too many goalposts being moved. I had a conversation with somebody over YouTube, basically saying, if you're talking Prem era, then Arsenal have 3 Prem titles and Liverpool only have 2. So when they were when they were talking about experience of winning the Prem,
Jamie
I,
O'Hara.
yeah, but I was like, I was like, well, but more recently, before 2019, we had more experience of winning it. That's
Yep.
all the point I was making, and this guy basically pipes up and goes, "There's been three iterations of the Premier League. One's Barclays, and one's this, and one's that." And I'm like, no. You're not changing eras just by who the sponsor is. We're not doing that. That's absolute nonsense.
Yeah.
You're just moving goalposts to suit your argument. Not happening.
I mean,
Yeah.
the Premier League is different to what it was in the 90s. But that's not. Jeez.
Yeah, but that's just it's just advanced as a product. That's all.
Yeah, exactly. It's just got bigger, bigger, and bigger and bigger, and the
Yeah.
squads have had to get bigger because there are more games, etc., etc., etc. That is simply it.
Yeah, and the Premier League took over from Barclays because they wanted all the money. That's it.
Yeah.
It's not a different iteration. It's got a different name. That's it.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
but it's just another Liverpool fan having to tell himself that they're superior to Arsenal, which I wasn't arguing, by the way, because they still have 20 league titles and we have 13.
Yeah.
So even if we won this one, doesn't make us better than Liverpool. I would never say that. When we get to 1920, God willing, then we can have that argument.
Yeah. But I mean, historically, Liverpool are the bigger club.
Of course they are. Of course they are. And it's not even open for dispute. Liverpool and Man United are the top tier clubs, and this is where I push back at certain people doing the tier lists of clubs in the Premier League, and basically going, well, you don't have enough tiers. You basically need to put the elite club, then you need to put a top club, then you need to put a big club, and then you go mid-sized club, and then everything else.
Yeah, I agree.
You can't just go, well, this is a top club, this is a big club, or big club, middle club, small club. It just doesn't work.
No,
there's not enough. There's not enough going for it.
No, I agree entirely. I think that's absolutely spot on.
So yeah. Anyway, thank you very much for coming on again, Dom.
No, thank you for having me. It was good fun. As I say, it's a shame the international breaks here, but Arsenal in a positive place.
Yeah, absolutely. And I as I say, I do think it's a good time for Arsenal. I think it's I think it's a bad time footballing wise, but I do think that obviously we've got a couple of injuries that are out there. Havertz can't be far away now. from
Another
coming
month or
back.
so, I think, is what's
Oh,
been.
is it?
Yeah, November is where he's being sort of listed.
Was it? Oh, okay. I haven't even looked. So I just
But
thought
you
he'd been out.
never know with injuries, right? I mean,
Yeah, I just thought he'd been out so long. I was just like,
I
just
was
sort of,
surprised when I saw it as listed as a November, but
yeah,
whether
yeah,
that's the 1st of November or whether that's the international break, don't know.
yeah,
Madueke's sort of being listed for then. Jesus obviously January, but I think everyone else is sort of relatively imminent with Odegaard, the one that we don't know.
yeah. Norgard was back, wasn't he? He was just,
Norgard's back, yeah. He played, didn't he, against
yeah,
Port Vale, didn't he? Played the
Port
90
Vale, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then you got Hincape, who's,
after the international break immediately.
yeah,
Available for game week 1 after the international break.
yeah. I'm sure he's training already.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I'm sure he's actually training. He was just not available,
yeah.
fitness wise to play. So
Yeah, so
yeah,
Madueke and
and
Havertz, November, Hincape pretty much now, Odegaard unknown, and I think that's the injury list, isn't it? I don't think there's anyone else.
yeah, I mean, I expect Odegaard to be back November time as well.
Yes, I wouldn't be shocked to see him out for this international break. Just
Yeah.
very quickly, where do you sort of stand on the Wanyeri and Miles Lewis-Skelly minutes?
Um. To be honest, I mean, the thing is that they get time when they get time. There's plenty of cup competitions coming up. So there's obviously the League Cup game against Brighton. There'll be the FA Cup games in January. So yeah, hopefully as well the Champions League phase is done early, and then they can start playing in there as well.
I
But
think he's going to get plenty of minutes.
I think so too.
He,
But
he's he's also a young man, right? It's same with Miles Lewis-Skelly. They're young players. They're trying to get into one of the best teams in the league.
yeah,
Um, you know, I'm not concerned about their minutes at all. I'd be worried if we got to the end of the season and they're playing like, we're 300 minutes, but I think they'll be up and around 1,000 minutes.
yeah. I mean, I don't think that they get as much time as they did last season.
No,
But I
Ranieri
think
might because it was
yeah,
much less than Miles, but
yeah, maybe. But I don't think Lewis Skelly will. But we had we've adapted in that position as well. So should we be relying on an 18-year-old every single game, trying to win a league? And I stand by this as well, because the likes of Man City can now play younger players because there's less pressure to win titles. They can now go, right, okay, said player can go in there, Oscar Barbo or whoever it is. They can go in there because the expectation, there's not as much pressure to win because they've won stuff before.
I think expectations still there, albeit I think probably City fans realise that they're not quite there this season. I think that's right, but there isn't the pressure because, as you say, they've won it before. So I think the expectation remains, but it's the pressure that's different.
Yeah,
The pressure on Arsenal is massive this year,
yeah. So yeah,
internally and externally.
and he just goes more, more, and more every single time they don't win something. So you know, I don't particularly. I'm not really fussed about a League Cup, but if they win a League Cup, that will release a lot of pressure.
Yes, in fact, actually, a League Cup would be a really good one for Arsenal to win this year because they can win it in February.
No, but that's what I mean. So it's
Yeah, yeah,
basically
no, exactly. No, I was
that
agreeing with you.
early release. It's like
Mm.
it's gonna be like a literal pressure valve
Yeah,
that
yeah.
basically says, right, okay, you've won something now. It's not the big one. It's not what we're going for. We keep going,
But it's
but
yeah.
we won something now.
No, I agree with you. I think it's a really good point.
So yeah, as I say, I don't want that to be the only thing we win because
No, of course.
we're going to get crap for that as well. But at the end of the day, we're going to get crap no matter what. To be fair,
Look that way, isn't it?
yeah, it is really. But there you go. I think we just have to embrace that one.
Yep.
Anyway, that's about us. It's a wrap. So please make sure you're subscribing to the channel. You're liking the video, sharing the video out, and dropping any comments out there. It really helps the algorithm as well. Pushes up to get to the 500 subscriber mark. Again, Dom's channel is in the description, so make sure you're dropping a sub to him as well. He will appreciate it as well.
Oh, very much so.
Yeah, we can all hit that road and try and get up there, and then we can work on getting you some more content. So, but yeah, appreciate everybody that's been in the chat, everybody that's watching the video. Hopefully, you tune in next time. But in the meantime, I'm Sparks. This has been Footy Corner. We'll see you next time. Bye bye.